this show managed to evoke fond memories of Pride and Prejudice.
Ex- Except Benedict's like butt naked.
Yeah, you know. You're listening to the Juniper and Elle Show, where two friends chat dramas, movies, and whatever else we're checking out at the moment. Grab a tea or other beverage of choice and come hang out with us as we chat, laugh, and occasionally make sense. Hi, this is Juniper.
Hello, this is Elle.
Welcome to our pod. As promised last time, we said, hey, it's time for some costume dramas, except this time we were going to do non-Asian. And we have promised that we were going to finally do Bridgerton Season 4, Part 1, which dropped, end of January, right? So it's been a while. 4 episodes out of the total Season 8. There's 4 more coming at the end of February. We checked out the first 4 and we have thoughts. I would say that this has been the season of Bridgerton I've been looking forward to forever. So I'm so thankful it's finally here.
Because of Benedict.
Because of Benedict. And now that I've seen it, I am very happy with the end result.
I am too.
All right, we're done. We're done. That's it. That's all I have to say. Yes. So obviously we both loved it, right? You and I traded some texts about that. We had done a previous pod, was it almost a year ago, right? Bridgerton Season 3, and we did not love Season 3.
No.
Which was Colin and Penelope. I would say that season was probably, in my opinion, brought out like the worst traits of Bridgerton, which is there's like kind of a veneer of showiness, like to be racy and just extra on everything. But it didn't feel very like genuine.
It didn't feel heartfelt.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was, what did I say to you? I said Colin and Penelope feel performative, right? Everything they do is performative, especially the sex. And thank God they did not take that line with Benedict and Sophie's story. And it was a refreshing breath of fresh air to finally see it brought to the screen. The drama is pretty faithful to the novel. I mean, obviously it takes liberties, right? Like Sophie is not Asian in the book, right? But like the story arc follows the progression of the novel pretty closely, faithfully. And I think I felt the same feels watching the show as I did when reading the book. And I know this for a fact because I went back and re-listened to the audiobook version of the book recently after watching the show, just to refresh my memories and say, hey, does it hit the same way? And I would say yes.
Yeah, no, so I would say I wasn't like as like, oh, I need to see the season the way you were, because you really liked Benedict from, I think, even the first season. And the last season that I really liked was season 2, where I didn't like Anthony in season 1. And then, season 2 miraculously made him very lovable in season 2. So for this one, I wasn't like, oh, I'm dying to see this one, but I did like the novel when I read it a long time ago, which was loosely based on a Cinderella story. And it's probably the first story where the love interests are not from the same socioeconomic class. Like, I mean, she's a maid and he's from the aristocracy. So when I was reading it, I just remember thinking it was a very romantic story in that sense, because it's like, it's how can they ever resolve this? How can they ever be together? Because how important it is in that society that they could never be together. Like, she could ruin him and his sisters, and they brought all of that onto the show. And so I was actually excited to see the adaptation for that purpose from the novel, not because I was like, oh, I'm a big Benedict fan, but I would say so far in the first 4 episodes, like the way they rolled out the love story was very moving. Like I love the chemistry between the leads. I think they're just really good fit, and you want to see them get together, and and I just enjoyed it. And like you said, it doesn't have that flashy veneer that I mean, in the intro, always with these Bridgerton projects, right? The intro is very lush and like, oh, look at all the wealth and the fancy, chandeliers, whatnot, all the thousand flowers draping everywhere. But once you get past all the veneer of that, the love story, the way they focus it, the way they hone in. I mean, they do these extreme close-ups with the faces, which I thought was very interesting. Makes it feel very intimate when you're watching them when they're together. It's just I'm really enjoying the love story, and I'm glad it's a love story and not just a story about lust, as some of the earlier Bridgertons were about.
This season is very much about the two people, like you say. It feels quieter and more intimate, and it's really more about the two of them. Not to say that there's no side characters. I think a lot of the past seasons with Bridgerton, sometimes the side stories and characters intrude, and there was almost too much focus on society, the foibles of high society, because it was always about Whistledown and the gossip.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is like, this feels like the story about two people in a bubble. And this is the kind of that's the intimacy, right? The quiet intimacy that you really want out of a romance. Like you can cozy up under a cold, on a cold day under a blanket and really enjoy. Because you can, I think for me personally, it's easier to project yourself into that situation.
Yes.
Nobody's reading a romance novel to be like, I wish I can just be at high society balls all day. That's boring. That's where the hero and heroine often meet or spar, right? But it's not the main venue for the love story. So let's talk about then the main characters, Benedict and Sophie. So you already mentioned that I've been waiting forever for Benedict. And I would say it's because I really like Luke Thompson's portrayal of Benedict. I mean, he's the only Bridgerton brother on screen I would date. Which is weird given that up till now, as portrayed on the drama, he's kind of a wastrel, right? Not a wastrel, a playboy. Like aimless young man about society, kind of living on the fringes, like trying to find himself. Like some people probably are turned off by it. In fact, I saw on this Chinese social media that we sometimes frequent, right? Red Note, people were like, oh, he's kind of dirty if you think about it because he slept around so much. I mean, they've all slept around so much, right?
Yeah, they all have.
But he's the only one where you consistently see him sleep around every season. It's a man, it's a new man, it's a new woman, or many of them. So I get why some people might be like, oh my God, he's kind of ick. But he comes across as very affable and gentle and funny.
Yes. He's not greasy.
No, he's not greasy. And I am amazed by the chemistry between Yerin and Luke Thompson. Because you just don't know what you're going to get, right? It's not like they've acted together before.
Yeah. I think it was completely believable the way they met. I mean, I know I mentioned this in past pods, like where you're like, oh, it's such a trope when the guy sees you from afar. He's like, I'm so dazzled by you, right? I've harped on that in the past. But I think here, I don't remember exactly how it was in the book, but I think it makes sense that, out of all the ladies in the masquerade ball, like, she would really dazzle him because she's not from the upper crust society, and she herself is dazzled by this ball. Like she's like, wow, this is what a ball is like. She's never been to one. And so he is drawn in, and it's not like, oh, I saw her once and I didn't talk to her, right? Like here he gets to like talk to her, and she asks him questions about him, which he had said that, most people just see him for the title or for who he is as a Bridgerton and not for who he is. And I think you believe in that romance right away, like that. Oh, there can be something building. There's a foundation there that they're laying that I believe in, and so I think, it's very enjoyable to watch the two of them banter. It doesn't feel like they're just doing small talk. It always feels like they're learning more about each other every time they engage in conversation. And obviously the cottage section was very cozy too, like just them being away from society and being themselves. I think that helps a lot with the plot, and they did it really well.
And that's in the book, right? That's a main development of their relationship in the book as well. So that's what I'm saying. The faithfulness to the book really paid off here. And they brought to life how I imagined that. I wish it was even longer than the one episode that was paid to it, right? But given that it's one episode out of 8 for the totality of the series, I guess it's fair.
I saw in an interview that the scene with the kite was the first scene that they shot together.
Oh, that's interesting.
Even though they met at the ball first in the story, but they said they filmed in the cottage first, so it kind of allowed them to get more familiar with one another as they were acting out the sequences. And then, oh, you were saying that him in the lake.
Oh, I thought that was like so to me that immediately evoked Darcy moment from Pride and Prejudice, the Colin Firth Darcy, right? 1995 BBC version. Our favorite, at least my favorite. I don't know. Is that your favorite Pride and Prejudice? Or do you like the movie?
I always go back and forth. I really like the movie too, so I like both.
No, hands down the miniseries. If you've not watched the Colin Firth version of Pride and Prejudice with Jennifer Ale, please go watch it. I just remember when I watched it, I told you to watch it. I think I was the one who's like, you should watch it.
Yes.
And back in the day, there was once that you would not stop talking about it while watching it. And I think I fell asleep and dropped the receiver. This was back in the day. And I think I woke up to you going, hello, hello, hello. Are you still there? I'm like, oh, I fell asleep, man.
The Pride and Prejudice love runs deep, you know?
Yes. So it's a good thing then that this show managed to evoke fond memories of Pride and Prejudice.
Except Benedict's like butt naked.
Yeah, so people actually said this. They said that Benedict or Luke Thompson didn't get the glow up that you would typically get. Like Colin got the glow up, and they didn't do the glow up this season. Did you notice that?
I did notice, and I like that he didn't get the glow up. Why? Do you wish he got the glow up?
No, he doesn't need glow ups. He looks very natural. Like that's what I like about Benedict. He's always been the kind of normal one.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the angry one that like with like a chip on his shoulder like Anthony, or the dork who wants to be cool like Colin. I mean, that's really who you're comparing with, right? I mean, I guess you can compare him to the Duke in season 1, but the Duke's not a Bridgerton, so that's different.
Right.
You know?
No, I think I did notice he didn't get like the Hollywood looking glow up, and I appreciated that because it looked more like within the times. I mean, he's still buff. I mean, he's still ripped. It's just not like Hollywood ripped. Like he looks more like a guy who probably rides horses. Like
he needs to do more squats.
Yeah, like the physique is more natural looking and not as like precision build, like muscle building looking.
Chiseled, I think is the word you're looking for. He's not on a pure turkey breast and salad diet. I think the other thing we had talked about, which I had to think about this. I'm like, why did I like An Offer from a Gentleman, the novel, so much? And when I was watching the drama, it occurred to me, I'm like, wait a minute. This is the only Bridgerton story in the drama land, at least, where the stakes matter.
Yeah, because it could that they might not be able to be together.
Yeah, like every other high society romance in the previous seasons, sure, there's conflict, but it just feels like rich people deciding what to wear for the day. You know, like, is it choice A or choice B? There's no major letdown, negative impact, other than, oh, I'm not with the one I truly love, right? It's almost like the stakes are not very high. In this sense, Benedict and Sophie, there's stakes, especially for her, because she's a servant, or he doesn't know that she's a illegitimate daughter of a earl, but she's of a lower social rank. She's an outcast, and they cannot be together in their society. So either way, however they approach their love, right? There's a lot to lose, and there's a lot of pain, whichever way they go. I watched the interview with Luke Thompson and Yerin. He said something. I was like, oh, that's very interesting. It's true. He's like, these are two people who keep falling in love in like little pockets. Like they're always falling in love in like a fantasy bubble, right? It's like fairy tale ball, fairy tale country cottage. The situations are like these like isolated instances, but they're never doing it or able to do it in the real world. And I think the struggle is, how do you integrate that with reality?
Yeah, I think that's actually, it was beautifully said. And it's kind of, I think it's what builds on the romantic aspect of it, where you're yearning for each other, right? They're yearning for each other, but they don't, at least I think in the beginning, he doesn't realize he's really yearning for her. But then remember, he saw like some other guy. He had a mistress, and he's like, "Oh, but they're in love," and he's like, "Oh, that's my answer. That's my solution like, to
Ask
my
her to be my
problem.
mistress.
I'll make her my mistress." It's the most romantic proposal you can ever give, you know?
Okay, so I think the nature of the story and the strong pairing here, both the actors bring their characters to life and the way the characters are set up really works for the way the story comes across. Let's talk about the things that don't work. Can I just say actually that the love scenes do not work for me in this season? But I think I would say that about every season of Bridgerton. This is where I say it's trying too hard. Like it's too, what did I say to you? I'm like, oh, you know, I kind of almost prefer if they were just circling each other, holding, kind of being more reserved and trying to figure each other out and talking, right? Like that slow attraction, right? And then suddenly they're having these conversations and they're like marching up to each other and suddenly banging faces. And you're like, what happened? This is very aggressive, right? I get it. There's a yearning, but this is not how I can see this. I can see this happening a different, maybe more gentle way. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about the love scenes?
I mean, I thought they were fine. I know what you mean. It's almost like the camera angle like puts them right in front of each other, and then suddenly they're smashing faces, and you're like, wait, like can there be a more eloquent way of doing the angles of the faces, or one leans into the other? Like yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's a little aggressive. Yeah, and then it kind of escalates very quickly, and then suddenly, like, boom, it's over, and you're like, oh, okay, that was sudden.
The best love scene in this whole season so far is between Violet Bridgerton, the mother, and Lord Marcus. That was very well done. I thought that was like, oh, that's cute. That's cute and hot at the same time. Like it's tasteful.
Yes, because they also have a sort of a taboo relationship, because it wasn't clear to me why she wouldn't be allowed to be with someone. I guess maybe that's just the society thing, where if you're not married, you're not expected to be intimate with someone. So, and it didn't sound like she was really ready or she would ever remarry, but she was still physically attracted to him and vice versa. So, yeah, I thought that the build up for their relationship started like in season 3, and I'm glad they kind of kept going at the same sort of rate. Like it wasn't just forced onto you, like, oh yeah, they're actually a couple now. And you're like, no, we didn't see the build up, but here they actually allowed them to show like an older couple having, like, for her, a second chance at love, and you know, with an intimate relationship. So I like that. Yeah, they're very cute together on screen, and you want her to have her happiness. I think in the books she never ends up with someone else, so this was purely written for the show. But I like their chemistry together.
Yeah, I like that. It was nice to have this added element in the show that the book didn't have, right? I'd have nothing against not being a faithful adaptation if it's additive, right? A benefit to the story and the characters. And in this sense, I think that Violet having Marcus as a love interest is great. The rest of the cast I thought was interesting in that I actually didn't mind any of the other supporting characters for once. Like there were past seasons where I'm like, I only want to see the main characters. I don't really want the distraction of the other characters. They make Bridgerton like an ensemble show, but really it's not. Every season technically has its central figures. And in some past seasons, it almost felt distracting when other people, like it's like when you watch Asian dramas, you're like, fast forward, secondary couple, don't care, right? Like that kind of thing. I did not get that issue here. It means to me that either the supporting elements were so well integrated into the overall flow, or they didn't overdo it, right? Either way, it works. It fits the overall narrative structure. The only time it didn't work for me was Colin and Penelope, but you know I have issues with Colin and Penelope. They're so extra, like extra performative, right? Like, are they only able to have sex in the carriage?
They can't keep their hands off each other, right? I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah. Are they okay?
Yeah, I always felt like that was so unnecessary, because it wasn't even steamy to watch. It was just goofy.
Yeah, here's the sex interlude from the two people who do sex interludes, you know? You're like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I would say so far there hasn't been much nudity. I mean, you saw 2 pairs of buttocks from, to the guys, and that's it. They don't really show much, which I some people might love that, some people might be disappointed by that. The side characters or the ones that they're not focused on, I think what has helped is that because it is season 4, they don't need time to explain what happened or introduce them. Like, you kind of already know their history, so it's just like they can just sprinkle them in and then move on. And I think they also have to gear up for future seasons, right? So they're focusing on the two sisters who could, because they haven't announced who's going to be who's going to be the focus of season 5. So, but I like Francesca. I don't know what they're going to do with her story because it's so different from the novel. And then I think Eloise is sort of like, I like that in this season, like the younger sister Hyacinth calls her out on her like sort of not narcissism, but she's always like looking down on like the rules of society. But it gets to a point where even the sister's like, you only care about yourself, which I thought was good because I think maybe this is the pivot they need for her character to not be so, because you cannot, I don't think you have a whole season of Eloise just like being anti-marriage because like, what's the point? Like, you can't. And then what? She's going to find a guy and fall in love. Like, it doesn't work that way. So hopefully they do something with the character.
Well, and her guy, if they follow the book, I think is the guy that was who marries, right, that other girl from season 1 that Colin was interested.
Yeah, he already married.
And then he becomes a widower.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't reread it. It's to Philip. No, is it to Sir Philip with love or something like that?
Yeah.
They're like pen pals or something.
But he's a lot older too.
They may not follow that at all. So who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yes, Eloise was less annoying this season because they didn't have that much of her. And I think the whole Hyacinth calling her out was helpful because I think it acknowledges that she is to date been, ever since season 2, I would say. Season 1, I liked Eloise actually, but beyond that, I was like, oh my God, she's really annoying. I feel validated. Thank you, show. I feel validated because she's really annoying.
It's funny because she's like this season, she's like the self-proclaimed, I'm putting myself on the shelf, which is, it's slang for I'm going to be a spinster. And then they're like, okay, so go do the duties of what spinsters do. She's like, oh my God, this is even worse than like being a debutante.
Yes.
She's like, I have to listen to all of this crap. So yeah, they make her, she's an interesting character for sure. So hopefully they make her accessible for whenever she's leading a particular season.
Yeah. I did also like the touch with Francesca in that she's like, what is the Pinnacle? Like, should I get the Pinnacle? And I was like, this is interesting for the show to say it's not that easy for all women to have the Pinnacle or orgasm.
Yes.
Especially a show like this where they make it seem like if you touch each other, you're going to all both orgasm at the same time.
Or if you're in love.
Right. So it's good that I think they call that out. Now, maybe they'll turn that on its head and say, no, it's because she doesn't really understand herself. She might end up with someone else eventually down the road who will do that for her.
Right.
Who knows? But at least the fact that they're saying it's not like, oh, if I'm in love, I must have the Pinnacle. It's good. And that she's having a conversation about it. Like, because she doesn't know any better. She's like, what is that? That was those conversations are kind of funny. It's like everyone's like, oh, let me close the door.
I actually thought Penelope gave the best explanation. Like, her mom could not really explain it. But Penelope, I thought, did a good job.
The actual sensation. She's like, oh, here's the physical aspects of it.
Yes. Like, this is what you should be feeling. So with this story, that we also get a new cast, the family, which is the female lead's stepmother and her stepsisters. It was so funny, like, because I know like the original novel was built on Cinderella, and I kept visualizing like Cate Blanchett when she was the stepmother in the live action Cinderella,
the Disney one, right?
Yeah. Like, I feel like, it would have been more delicious to have that level of acting. I feel like this one, it's a little paper villainy, the stepmom. So that's the only thing. But I really like the stepsister Posey. She's hilarious, and I don't remember her being like that in the novel. But like, she's really adorable in this, and I'm glad they gave her a whole bunch of screen time to be like her fun, adorable self.
I agree with you that the stepmother was a little bit too. They put her in I'm assuming she's in mourning. That's why she's always wearing all black. to give her that severity. But yeah, in my mind, with a name like Araminta, you expect more gravitas, like commanding, like some presence.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But you know what? That's a small issue. Overarchingly, right? The season was, so far at least, satisfying.
Yeah.
We have 4 more episodes to go, and I'm very much looking forward to them. If they keep being faithful or as faithful to the I guess the emotional core of the novel, I'll be very happy.
Me too.
And finally, my Benedict gets his happy ending.
Hopefully.
I mean, it's not a C-drama where they'll turn like 180 on you and be like, we're sorry. That's it. I mean, I don't really have much more to say other than so far so good. And I very much look forward to the second half of season 4. And we'll come back and talk about that wrap-up when time comes.
Yep.
All right. Is it time to go back to Asian dramas? I think so. Whether you want to or not, kicking and screaming back into Asian drama land until the second half of Bridgerton season 4. So, with that said, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.